What's going on, guys? My name's Bill and this is Tool Tech Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, I like to bring you guys a tool that I've been using in my videos or that I've been using on projects in and around my garage. Today's tool is one of those tools that you can pick up for relatively cheap that can really help to maybe bring your woodworking projects just to the next level. So I'm currently working on a woodworking project, a top secret woodworking project that I am using some relatively expensive hardwood on. This is yellow heart. Now, with this being kind of a specialized, kind of expensive hardwood, I want this to be the focal point or the focus of my woodworking project. So this is not gonna get painted, it's not gonna get stained. It's probably gonna get like a clear coat on it to kind of help that color and that grain kind of pop. But I'm not gonna hide the wood. I want this to be seen. So often what happens is when you're working with a specialized or a more exotic type of wood like this, a lot of times you're gonna find that they have holes in them. So you can see some of these holes here. Now, sometimes they're just wormholes, which is what I think these are, because these are going all the way through and they're going through on angles. So I think these are wormholes. But sometimes you're gonna find some that have holes that have been drilled in them. And what those are, they are there because they tested the moisture content of the wood. So what do you do? What do you do with those holes? I mean, you could try to work around them, lay out whatever you want, whatever pattern you're gonna be cutting out of that wood. You can try to lay it out in a way that you can avoid a lot of those holes. But what can happen doing it that way is you're gonna end up with a lot of waste. And it may not give you the grain orientation that you want. Like the project that I'm working on, if I was gonna try to work around some of those holes, it would shift my grain kind of cockeyed. It would make the whole thing, even though I want my piece like this, the grain might be going like this. And that's not what I want. I want that grain straight across. So I need to work with those holes. I need to use areas where there are holes and you get rid of them. If it was a cheaper wood that you were gonna be painting over, you could just fill it with some wood filler, sand it smooth and call it done. Some guys will take like sawdust and wood glue and mix it into like a paste. And again, they'll fill their holes with that. And that works too. Again, but that's something that if you were gonna be painting it, that you could do. But what do you do if you want to be able to see the wood, if you're not gonna be covering up those spots? We get one of these. This is a plug cutter. This one is by Miles Craft. Comes in a 3-piece set. It's got 1/4 inch, a 3/8, and a 1/2 inch. So what you do, I'm gonna take you over to the drill press. I'm gonna show you how these things work. All right, so here on this scrap piece of wood, I've got 3 of these. I think these are just wormholes. There's one here, one over here, and one down here. I'm gonna work with this one here. So what I'm gonna do is, since these are relatively small holes, I've got a 1/4 inch drill in the drill press, and I'm gonna drill these holes out. Now, I'm not gonna worry about going all the way through. I'm just gonna drill them down, 3/8, 1/2 an inch or so. This is relatively thick piece of wood. So I'm gonna drill this hole out just a bit. All right, now that I've got that hole drilled, I'm gonna remove the 1/4 inch drill bit. And I'm gonna replace it with the 1/4 inch plug cutting bit. So now that what I've got is a piece of scrap. Again, this is the same yellow heart. This is just an off-cut piece. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to find an area. Now this does have that dark vein running through it, so I'm not worried about it being perfectly the same. I'm not gonna get that. But I'm gonna go probably right around here. This is a little bit darker area. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna cut with the plug cutter. Now sometimes that happens. I think I went just a little too deep. I went like pretty much almost all the way through. You don't have to go that deep. So sometimes it'll break off and it'll pull the plug out. Let me get that out of there, and then I'll show you hopefully one that doesn't do that. Of course, I lost the plug. So let's just cut another one. So there you can see, it's got the plug cut, and then you just take a small, standard screwdriver, put it down inside the hole. And now I've got a plug that I can use to fill that hole. All right, so now I've got my plug, got my hole. What I'm gonna do is just take some wood glue, put a little bit of wood glue down inside that hole. And I'm gonna take my plug, and if you can see the grain, you can actually line the grain up with the plug, with the grain in your wood. Doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you can. And then what you do is you put that plug down inside the hole, get your mallet, of course that's not wanting to cooperate. Nothing ever wants to cooperate when you're trying to film it. All right, got the plug down inside the hole. Then you take, this just happens to be, I forget what they call this thing, like a flush cut saw, I guess. This thing just can ride right on the surface. And you cut off the excess plug. There we go. Then you sand it smooth. And there you go. Your hole is plugged. It also works if you want to fill or hide the head of a screw. So here I drilled I think I used the 3/8 drill, drilled like a 3/8 deep hole. And that way now, if I was gonna mount this piece of wood to something with a screw like that, I could cut a 3/8 plug and hide that screw head. Again, this spot here, I mean, you can see because that hole happened to be in a dark area of the wood. But now, I mean, I've used plugs, I've used like dowels to make plugs, but those are usually just like pine, maybe poplar dowels. So if you're working with something like this, the wood color is not gonna match. This way you take your piece of scrap, you cut plugs that'll match the hardwood that you're working with. If that hole was in an area of a more consistent color, that hole would almost disappear. Kind of like that one there. That one's not completely disappeared either, but it's a closer fit, closer color match than this one. But you get the idea. These things, like I said, this one is by Miles Craft. I'll leave a link down below. Comes in a 3-pack, and it's just one of those things that now you don't have to go out and try to use a dowel that definitely won't match in color. You can cut your own plugs, and then what you can do is even keep some of your scraps for cutting plugs out of for other projects. Appreciate you for watching. Hit that subscribe, hit the bell, and get back to work.